Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us this morning. Well, we're 46 days left in the 2020 legislative session, and that brings us up to date on the session. And to bring us up to date on the session, I'm joined by James Arney.
Good
Good
morning.
morning, Jim.
Hi, Sandy.
Well, Jim, as of yesterday, we had 1,045 Senate bills and 1,620 House bills, which gives us a total of 2,665. Now, how does this compare to last year?
Well, last year, as we know, was a much lower year because of the new members of the General Assembly. And last year, we had at this time 2,283.
Okay.
And that was about 400 more this year than last year. So I went back to 2018. And in 2018, this time, we had 2,954. So we're about 300 fewer bills this year than we had this
Two
time
years ago.
2 years ago.
That's interesting.
Yes,
Wow. Now, since the session started, we've testified on two bills, House Bill 185 and Senate Bill 223. Can you give the audience a brief summary about these bills?
sure. Obviously, they're both the same bill. The one filed in the House, one in the Senate, and the bills are creating a commission
Hmm.
regarding tax policy reform and fairness.
Right.
And this commission will be made up of various individuals, some from the Senate, some from the House, some in private industry, and so forth, to really study the tax structure. Because the way our tax structure is today, it was based way years ago
Right.
when we were manufacturing state.
Industry, and now
Now
we're
we're in services.
service based. Yeah.
So they're looking at all of the various tax laws and credits and deductions
Right.
and the whole ball of wax, so to speak.
Now, when we testified, the point of our testimony was to make sure that a member of MSATP will be part of that commission, and so
Right.
that was our initiative for going down to testify
Yes.
on that. So hopefully
Absolutely.
that'll happen for us.
Absolutely.
Now, besides those two, we're also scheduled to testify on March the 6th on House Bill 1358, which addresses the subtraction modification for pension exclusions. Now, Jim, I know this bill has been there every year since I can remember, and I know you're a little older than me, right, buddy?
Absolutely.
so, so I know it's been around for a while, and in the past, the bills that was put in addressed the IRA to include IRA deduction for that pension exclusion. So this year's bill is a little different. Now they're just really stating that any 1099-Rs or 1099-RRBs would be able to as a deduction on the pension exclusion.
Correct.
And so it was still no effect on the age. 65 is still the number, and you still have to take in consideration your Social Security part of the calculation.
Right.
But they're just not limiting it to just pensions. They're using the term 1099-R and 1099-RB on this
Correct.
bill.
Trying to simplify it.
Trying to simplify it.
Eliminate what is eligible for the pension exclusion and the IRAs, the rollovers, the SEPs,
Right.
the Roth IRAs. They're currently ineligible.
Right.
Just do away with all of that. And if you have income, like you say, from
1099-R.
those two types,
Yep.
1099-Rs.
Right, and I'll tell you, just as with the tax law is changing from industry to services, the same way with pensions. A lot of companies do not have pensions anymore. That
Exactly.
It's the responsibility of the employees, and so we've always supported this expanding the pension exclusion subtraction modification. So that's what we're going to be going down and testifying on.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
and I will say that the way the current law is written, with those that are eligible, those that are not eligible,
Mhm.
that was established in the year 2000, 20
Oh,
years ago.
okay.
And I can recall, at least because I did some research, I think last year, for 15 years, there has been bills introduced to try to expand it using different methods, phasing it in over a
Mhm.
number of years, just doing one type like an IRA, or the next year doing a Roth IRA,
Right.
and nothing has succeeded.
Well, hopefully, maybe we'll see a change this year. Now, MSATP does not testify on every bill out there. Um, but others we do keep a watchful eye on because there is other ones that we just need to keep an eye on to see how they progress through the legislature. So, can you share a few bills that we're currently watching?
Sure, we look at them by various what we call tax types or categories. In the Health Matters, there's
Mhm.
3 bills that we're tracking.
Mhm.
They're basically dealing with subsidies to the health program for those individuals that can't afford to pay the full price. On the state tax, there are 3 bills we're tracking, one of which is reducing the unified credit back to $1 million on the Maryland return
Oh.
in, in that regard. Personal income tax, there's 10 bills that we're tracking on in that category. And several of those are dealing with military retirement, trying to get it to be, or get the retirement income from military 100% tax-free.
Mhm.
And it's
Is
taking,
it military and first responders or just military?
well, there's separate, there's
There's two different
two
ones.
different
Okay.
ones,
Okay.
but both of them are basically doing the same thing
Okay.
in that regard. Corporate, there are 2 bills in, and that's basically trying to provide for additional revenue,
Mhm.
which, if it passes, it would require corporations to compute the taxable income using combined reporting.
Right.
And the other one is using the throwback rule dealing with corporate tax. And as we've already covered, there are 4 regulatory bills. 3 of them are creating either a task force or this commission to
Commission. Right.
study the rules. And last, sales tax. There are 2 bills that we're monitoring. They're both the same. They're cross-filed bills, excluding aircraft parts and equipment from the sales and use tax.
Right.
And I saved the sales tax for last in case you wanted to.
Yes. Yeah, I think let's step into that. So last night I got a call about 8 o'clock last night from Mike O'Halloran from NFIB, and immediately and I got on the phone with Jim. I guess we were talking about what 9 o'clock last night,
Yes,
Jim.
yes,
And so apparently this morning a new sales tax bill just dropped, and which is going to looking to tax professional services. And how it's being presented is it's going to lower the sales tax on items down to 5%,
correct.
and they're going to pick up that 1% by taxing professional services, which they've never done. And that is our world: accounting, tax, whatever, all those industries and services. So I know we were talking a little bit about it before we went on air, and this is going to be an interesting battle. But the way they're rolling it out is that they're looking again for funds for the Curwen Commission and for
Yes.
education, and they feel that this balance of giving back a penny to the consumer for and then taxing. Now, I guess, and we haven't seen the bill yet.
Right.
We're only hearing
not,
that's
not
all
posted
just
yet.
yeah. They just was discussing it last year. So, I guess my first question is: is the tax on the services going to be at 5% or the 6%? I'm assuming it's going to be 5% across the board.
That's my assumption. I
That
think it would be a little difficult to administer having one rate
that's
for
what I thought too.
this service or merchandise and then the 5% for something else.
Right.
And it's being touted as reducing it
Right.
from 6% to 5%.
Right.
So I feel confident.
Right.
But it's on all services as the general reading that I've been able
Right.
to
That's how.
get my hands on so far
Right.
without seeing the bill till later today.
Right, that's the message I got from Mike last night.
Yeah.
Because immediately, he thought of us and gave me a call. Because of being in the accounting and the tax profession, that we needed to look at this, and of course, this is going to affect a lot of small businesses, and especially on the sales tax. So.
Well, it's like everything else; it's going to trickle down to your customer,
right?
Because it's going to get passed on, and as Mike stated when he was interviewed, that this is just going to be an additional cost to do business in Maryland.
Yes, exactly. So, and I guess we'll just keep everybody posted on that, and we'll
Absolutely.
definitely be going to be seeing probably a lot of news on this because it's it's never, like you said. I've been with this society for 25 years, and as I said to you last night, this was one of those things that we always kept a very close watchful eye on, is the tax on our profession on the sales tax side. And this is a real challenge that we've always had, that torch that we watched and made sure that it didn't happen. And we've
Right.
been lucky, but they're really saying that this year we could see a possibility that it could happen this year.
Well, like you said, it's all tied to Curban Commission, and
Right.
the rough estimate is this will generate $2.6 billion
Wow.
in additional revenue, and that's almost paying for Curban Commission.
Mm, interesting. Now, again, like I said, we were just talking a little bit about NFIB. And NFIB, we attended an event down in Annapolis, the NFIB Small Business Day. And NFIB was actually talking about the Main Street Tax Certainty Act, which is actually a federal law that they're looking at. And this federal law will allow for the small business deduction, the 199A, which is scheduled to expire in 2025, to extend. And a lot of small businesses in Maryland really took advantage of this and
Right.
gave a great benefit for them. So I think they're looking for all of their members to reach out to their congressman on the Hill to see about supporting this initiative. So I think it's another great benefit
Absolutely.
with our connection with NFIB. In addition to that, they shared with us some great webinars that they're
Mhm.
hosting. And for instance, they're having a presentation on the new overtime rules that came effective January 1st, what small businesses need to know. So on the website right now, you should be seeing down in the comments section a link to that. And it's only a 50-minute video. If you're going to stop from doing your taxes and having lunch, this might be something that you want to keep a watch of, because I think it'll give you some great information, especially as a small business owner. So, Jim, wow, is there anything else that you want to share? Because a lot of things are happening. And as Mike said, we're halfway into the session. They're dropping the sales tax bill that we didn't see coming at all. Any other things that you want to share with us for Annapolis before I move on to the things that are happening within the society?
Well, the next 3 weeks, we'll be keeping our eyes and ears open for what's going to actually pass.
Mm-hmm.
3 weeks from Monday will be the crossover date where
I was wondering when that was coming up.
each
Okay.
house
Okay, that's Monday.
passes the bills to the opposite house that they would like to see passed and enacted this session. So
Mhm.
the next 3 weeks are really, you'll start to see some action, I think, starting next week.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you, Jim. I cannot thank you enough. I know all the work that you do for us especially this time of year, and the entire team that works together to make this information for our members, knowing, keeping them up to date, especially during their busy time. And so, again, thank you so much for all you do for
My
us.
pleasure.
Now, a couple final announcements. Well, we started posting the upcoming seminars on the website. I'm very excited about this year's seminar season because we're offering some new classes this year, such as Excel pivot tables. We're doing a QuickBooks boot camp, advanced tax strategies, and we're also looking at having a seminar on the cannabis world industry. So,
Wow.
so that'll be some interesting topics coming up. So make sure you stop by our website, www.msatp.org, and take a look at all the offerings that we're having. And we're going to be starting up in May. So, again, while you're sitting there eating your sandwich, just take a cruise over there and see what's going on. Now, besides our education, we're going to be doing some great networking events as well. So on May the 9th, I think we were just talking about this, that was wine tasting day on Monday or something.
National Wine Day was
National Wine Day.
Monday.
Last Monday.
I did not get the word.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It was my fault. So we're doing a wine tasting tour at the Springfield Manor in Thurmont, Maryland on May the 9th. We're also having a happy hour at Liquid Assets in Ocean City during our 2020 convention on June the 9th. And then we're doing a great trip to Mount Vernon Estate on October 28th. Now, all of these are now posted on our website, so you definitely want to take a look at those. I'm really looking forward to those events.
Absolutely.
It's amazing. I'm a local girl, and I've never been to Mount Vernon.
I've been once, and
What?
it was many years ago.
So I'm really looking forward to that. So again, I want to thank you, Jim, for joining us this morning.
You.
Again, take your time and take a look at the website and see what we have happening. Again, we're always updating it. So even if you look at it today, it might be different tomorrow. So make sure you do. Take a peek at that. Now, next week, I'm going to be joined by Barbara Smith. Now, MSATP was invited to a special Social Security Administration conference on February 13th at their headquarters there in down on in security.
Mhm.
They addressed many issues on what was going to be happening in the upcoming years with SSA. And as tax professionals, again, we really need to know this information. So we need to plan for the future. So you do not want to miss out on next week's show, because Barbara's going to be joining us and bringing everyone up to date on what's happening with the SSA. So I think this is really going to be a very informative program. So make sure you join in next Thursday at 9 o'clock. And until next week, have a great day, stay warm, and continue doing your taxes. See you next week.